sign in. You can also do that afterwards. So go ahead and come on and take a seat. Thank you all for coming. This is a wonderful turnout, and I appreciate you all being here. I am Margie Schmidt. I'm the chair of this subcommittee. This is the Claremont Community Planning Group's subcommittee dealing with the Marina Boulevard specific area planning, Marina Boulevard area specific plan. Just a couple of background announcements, because you probably do all know, but I don't know that everyone does, that there is a trolley line that's going to be coming through our community. The Midcoast Trolley will be, sometime in the next 5 years, I believe, will be extended from Old Town up to UCSD and UTC. There'll be 3 trolley stops in our community. There'll be one at Tecolote Road, one at Claremont Drive, and one at Balboa Avenue. And that is not the subject of the meeting, whether or not we have a trolley, unfortunately. But our focus is on what opportunities this holds for our community to improve the Marina Boulevard corridor, and what concerns we have as well. The trolley is one of many transportation projects that SANDAG, the San Diego Association of Governments, is undertaking in response to state of California mandates to manage our transportation issues to diminish greenhouse gas emissions. So the city of San Diego and SANDAG also have strategies to try to promote development of sustainable communities. And that is with the intent to preserve our open spaces, manage our growth, and again, diminish emissions. So there will be some growth occurring in San Diego, if not only just by more people being born than dying. I work as a labor and delivery nurse, and I can tell you there are always lots of babies being born. And so rather than sprawling out, all of the communities, there are 52 communities within San Diego, and all of the communities will probably absorb some of the growth that occurs, irregardless of water issues. Just, we can't totally prevent any growth from happening. So I know that that's a concern for everyone here. In regards to the Marina Boulevard area, with the advent of the trolley, there is, like I said, opportunity for improvements to that area, and new resources for our community. So there will likely be some changes, and this meeting is largely an opportunity for you all to give us your input. We have a committee of 10 individuals that were selected by the Claremont Community Planning Group. 6 of them are planning group members, myself included, and 4 are members of the community who volunteered. We're all volunteers. Unfortunately, we only have 8 people present today. And it is our responsibility to represent you in working with the city in developing a specific plan for Marina Boulevard. I want to just take a moment and let everyone introduce themselves briefly, and then we'll have a short presentation, and then we'll begin the opportunity for community comments, okay? So I'm Margie Schmidt. Like I said, I am a member of the CCPG and have been a Claremont resident, a Bay Park resident for over 30 years. Well, I'm going to start down at this end.
Hi, I'm Lynn Titioliti, and I'm also with the Planning Board, and I'm a Bay Park resident and have been so for about 18 years now.
Hi, I'm Naveen Wani. I'm with the Claremont Community Planning Group. I'm also the chair of the Project Review Subcommittee. I am a resident of Claremont for the last over 30 years now.
Hi, I'm Cecilia Frank. I am also part of the planning committee here. And I'm only a 3-year resident here, and I do live in the city of Claremont.
My name is Carol Schleisman. I've lived in the neighborhood mostly since 1964, and I'm a member of the Ad Hoc Subcommittee.
Hi, I'm Dave Potter. I'm currently not a member of the planning group, although I was for about 10 years. But I am a resident of Bay Park. I've lived here since '73 as a staff member, working with a planning group. My history here goes all the way back to '68, so I'm very interested in seeing what happens here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm James Lamattery, and I've been here since 1991, and I'm a real estate broker in this area.
I'm John Shannon. I've been a resident of San Diego, and I came to school since 1982. And I think I should probably give a little more background because you'll say he's not from the community. Actually, I'm from Pacific Beach. I was the chairman of the planning group in Pacific Beach. I worked in technology. I have degrees from UCSD, from Stanford, in engineering, an MBA from San Diego State, and actually a teaching credential from San Diego State. And I taught at Madison High School for a year, so it scares some of you. But I work in real estate, and I didn't start out that way. I started out by investing, and people pulled me into it. Apparently my engineering background and my process management background and being able to look at the big picture swayed people that way. It's important because Pacific Beach, and I'm a member, I was the chair for 4 years, on the board for 8. All the surrounding communities we deal with in real estate. And looking at the connectivity, I've been involved with the trolley stops since day one, as soon as I could get on there. And I'm a member of the beautiful PB, which is the bicycle connectivity. If we don't get this Marina District, we don't get it right, it'll gum up everything else. And it's so important that we look at this as a system, as a big picture. And I see that.
Sorry, I don't want to take up all the time.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So John is one of the community representatives as well. Even though he doesn't live in Claremont, he does business here, and so that makes him able to participate. Each of the committee members brings experience and insight, and again also wishes to represent you in this process. So we'll have a brief presentation, and then I will ask interested community members to make a short line, because you can always keep adding to it, on that side of the room, and people can speak to the committee for up to 2 minutes. Please be considerate of everyone here and respectful, if you would, and also be considerate of the time so that we can hear from as many of you as possible. We will have a timekeeper who will show you a green sign when there's a minute of your time gone, a yellow sign when there's 30 seconds left, and red when the 2 minutes is up. And if many people have already made your point, or expressed your vision, perhaps let someone else speak first. Thank you. And now I'm going to introduce Michael Prince and Brooke Peterson, who will give a short presentation for us.
Thank you very much, Margie. That was an excellent introduction, and thank you to all of the subcommittee members who have taken their time out of the night, as well as everybody who's here. This is a fantastic turnout, and so I want to thank you all for that. My name is Michael Prinz. I'm a senior planner with the City of San Diego Planning Department, and I am the project manager for the Marina Corridor specific plan. So Brooke and I are here to provide an overview of the specific plan, as well as some of the goals that we're looking to achieve through this process, an overview of the outreach process that we will engage in with the community throughout that, and then we will turn it over to public comment. So the goal of the specific plan is to establish goals and policies and guide future public and private development along the corridor that makes Marina Boulevard a vibrant, desirable place to shop, dine, live, and work. Really, we received a grant from Caltrans and then a second one from Sandrag to evaluate land use and mobility improvements along the corridor to see what we can do to help enhance community character through the planning process and to establish urban design guidelines and zoning that responds to the community needs and values. We will be maintaining the Claremont Mesa 30-foot height limit overlay zone through that process. That was stated in the previous study effort, and that will be maintained through the specific plan as the recommended alternative. We will not be proposing any changes to that height limit overlay zone as part of the environmental review process. I wanted to make that point clear right up front, and that the purpose is to look at what can we do within that framework along the corridor that helps improve the community and helps respond to the needs along with the growth that is anticipated and with the new trolley coming in. So along with that, we want to look at how do we repurpose the roadway? How do we look at Marina Boulevard and some of the side streets to improve pedestrian and bicycle connectivity? Do we need new crosswalks? Do we need new bike lanes? Sidewalk improvements that can be expanded. All of those things will be evaluated, and we'll take the input from the community to identify where those improvements could be. And then finally, we want to identify strategies to fund infrastructure improvements. A lot of the public facilities that we will be identifying through this process do have a cost. And so we want to identify ways where we can fund those to make sure that they're implemented in a timely fashion. So we will be going through that. We will be doing a lengthy environmental impact report and a review process, and everyone will have the ability to review that and comment on it. So as part of this, we've established a subcommittee as part of this, the Claremont Community Planning Group has established a subcommittee specifically to focus on the recommendations that come out of the specific plan process. And the goal of the subcommittee is really to represent the larger community and stakeholder groups. So as Margie mentioned, and as the subcommittee members mentioned, there are a number of people who live in Bay Park who are here to represent and evaluate the proposals that are presented by the community and by the city through the process. We are going to have 4 to 5 meetings over the next year to help guide the specific plan, and we'll go into what specifically those meetings will cover. And then the purpose of this is to, again, consider their broader community input as part of that process. It's not just the 10 individuals who sit on the board, but everybody who's engaged in the process has a voice, and we consider all of those, all of that comments and input. You can always call or email me. I respond to every single email and every single phone call, as some of you can attest. And we will continue to conduct an open and transparent process. Every single one of these subcommittee meetings is open to the public. They will be held in a public place, and they will be noticed consistent with the Brown Act. So at least 72 hours in advance, an agenda will go out and the community will have a chance to review and evaluate it. Again, to further the public engagement process, we'll have 4 to 5 subcommittee meetings. We're going to have a community-wide open house, which will include not only Claremont, but the Linda Vista community sometime in the fall. We don't have a specific date yet. It will depend upon how far along we are in the process and the information that we've gained from the community so far. We will be giving regular updates to both the Linda Vista and Claremont community planning groups at their monthly meetings. But the primary focus of the review and engagement and discussion will occur at these subcommittee meetings as it relates to this process. And then finally, we have an online engagement forum called My Sidewalk. It was formerly My Mixer. That's linked to from the city's website, and it's an online tool where we're gaining feedback through polls. We've had a recent update in which you can post a picture of something that you want to see on the corridor or an area that you like that should be envisioned along this area. And we'll add more information on that as we continue to have this iterative engagement discussion. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brooke.
Thanks. Good evening, everyone. I'm just getting over bronchitis, so hopefully you can bear with my voice a little bit. But as Michael mentioned, we're going to have 4 to 5 subcommittee meetings, and I just wanted to show you guys kind of the details and the key topics that we'll be discussing at those upcoming meetings. We are planning that our next meeting will go over the vision for the area. Tonight's all about hearing from you guys, and then we'll start taking your input and starting to draft a vision, craft a vision. That'll be the focus of next meeting. After that, we'll start looking at the components that go into the land use plan, the zoning categories, and then potential design strategies. Meeting 5 will focus on everything mobility. We'll take a look at how traffic flows, how the mobility network could look, what connections we could make to the different places you guys want to go and come from. And then the last meeting will really be to look at the draft land use plan component, the public improvements required to support that land use plan, And then the design guidelines to ensure that what that land use plan and what development occurs through that land use plan reflects the vision, reflects the character that the community has expressed to us.
Just want to, before we go to public comment, I do just want to say a couple more things. So again, thank you all for coming out. As part of this process, again, we will create a detailed environmental impact report, and that will be reviewed and presented to the community, to the subcommittee, and then to the community planning group for their review and recommendation. Then we will go to the city council committees, the Smart Growth and Land Use Committee, as well as Planning Commission and City Council. Our goal is to be in front of City Council in early 2017. So we do have a fair amount of time to gather that input and start reviewing the different recommendations and beginning to analyze that. And with that, I will turn it over to Margie. Oh, excuse me, 1 second.
I just wanted to let Priscilla introduce myself. I'm Tate Galloway. I'm principal planner with the planning department. I'm a planning manager, and I just wanted to let you know that we look at this as a planning process that starts from the community. It's not coming from us and the planning department management dictating as to what should be. We honestly truly want to hear your input. And when we talk about the land use, that could be a range of thinking. It could be minimal land use, could be no land use changes. That's part of this process, and so we want to hear that. We also want to hear any improvements for bicycle, pedestrian, streetscape, and things that you want to see what this corridor in your community could look like in the future, just changes to make it a more vibrant and walkable and pedestrian-friendly connection, especially when we think about the trolley coming place. So I just wanted to keep that in mind, so let you know that it's by no means we're coming in with any sort of preset determination as to what this process could be or what the outcome will be.
Okay, with that, if there is anybody who wants to make a public comment, maybe, half a dozen might want to come over here to the podium. We all love this community as it is, but also would love to see it even better. So please share with us your vision for anything specific that could be changed or generalities that you would like to see.
Well, thank you. My name is Rick Russell. I'm Overlook Heights and a member of Linda's planning group. My question is really not so much a comment, but just a clarification. I read, I don't know, many of you probably saw this in the Times of San Diego last week, that the UC San Diego Health System bought the naming rights for several of the trolley stops for $675,000 for the first year on a 30-year program that will increase annually and significantly once the stations are built out up at UCSD. So my question is, with the 3 centers that we have left, the 3 locations here, because they're renaming the Old Town Transit Center. So we'll have Tecolote, Claremont, and Balboa. So my question is, are we going to be coming up with names, preliminary names that we've had, like the Marina, Tecolote stop or whatever? Are these just the preliminary names that could then be sold to someone for naming rights at some future time?
Our process does not involve naming rights for the trolley stations themselves. If there are particular names, I know that the Marina Business Association wants to rename the Tecolote to the Marina Station. It's something that we can evaluate and discuss with the Metropolitan Transit System and Sandag through that process, but that is not a specific outcome that is part of our effort.
I also wanted to mention that we have a scribe who's going to be taking notes of the different comments and questions, so that we'll be sure to address them in the future, even if we don't discuss it at this time.
Thank you very much for pulling this meeting together for the public. My name is Ronald Bacon. I live north of Balboa, and I do attend the Sandag meetings that have occurred so far. I noticed your map doesn't go up to Balboa, but that's okay. We'll drag that in sometime, I'm sure. I have 2 concerns. I voiced them before Sandag, and I don't know if Sandag is represented here or not, but that's okay. My concern is lighting. The Old Town lighting is terrible. It's environmentally pollution. I'd like to see lighting addressed on our corridor for look-down lights, laser lights, or whatever. Okay? They're cheap, they're efficient, and it's the way of the future for light pollution and efficiency. The other thing, excuse me, let me the other thing is I have great concerns about the engineering around the Balboa, and I don't know if I can address it, but the traffic grid is going to be taking out the south port, putting only the north port in, and 2 lights, one within 100 feet. So I'll address those, I'm sure, before you guys at some other point. Thank you. By the way,
Sorry, one more comment. Since
since 1970.
Currently, the specific plan is only looking from about Claremont Drive all the way up to Friars Road. We, as the Claremont Representative Subcommittee, are focusing just on the portion from Claremont Drive to Tech Lodi Road. So Linda Vista will have their own meetings to address their segment, and then in the future, probably the northern portion towards Balboa will also be addressed. So if you are able to focus on the Claremont segment, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Sorry, I don't plan to interject on every single comment, but I will address the question. That Balboa will be studied as part of a plan effort that we will engage in later this fall. We will be looking at mobility improvements and some of the specific concerns you have around that station. So we will be engaging that. Obviously, we will have that publicized widely, and we will be working with the planning group as well. So, feel free to provide those with your opinion at a later date, but you can contact me.
Okay, thanks.
Well, good evening. My name is Blake Lawless. I'm a 35-year resident of this area, Top Manor. So this does not necessarily affect me. I came here with my pitchfork and torch, ready to go, thinking we're going to go, 60-foot elevation. And I guess that's not going to happen. I'm very happy to hear that. But I would like to know when these meetings are scheduled so that I can participate in those individual events. Because I only found this out because a neighbor told me about it. So that's kind of not the way I'd like to have it. So that's all I have to say.
I'm Harry Jensen, and I'm a native. And I just want everybody here to know that Carmel Valley residents were against One Paseo, and the community planning was against it, and yet it passed 7-2. And then 60,000 people outside of Carmel Valley said no to One Paseo. That was 60,000 to 7. Now, Michael Prince represents not only this Claremont, he's a planner here, but he also has 7 other communities he works with. So that when we look at what they want to do for the Marina Boulevard, all you have to do, Appendix E of the Marina Boulevard Station Area Plan, this thing prints out to about 200 and some odd pages. But I've been through it twice. And the key sentence here is that the initial phases of the project establishes a density of 70 dwelling units. When Joseph got me into this back in 2014, he had signs up all over the place saying no R44. Well, now we're looking at 70 units, regardless of what the city says. And we're looking at 100-foot buildings, but this thing here says, oh no, only four stories high. You can't get 70 units in 4 stories unless you're using all of Marina Boulevard. Plus, SB 375 allows a half-mile radius around a transit station, which is the mobility hub. That's at the top of Milton. If you just go up there, they can build these 70-unit monsters all the way to the top of the hill. This is not a Marina Boulevard corridor fight. This is a San Diego fight because the Stony Creek and Mira Mesa, they want to build 15,000. Out in Ramona, Bonzo, we've got this overbuilding problem, and Marina Boulevard corridor is only one problem.
I've told Michael that in order to maintain a 30-foot height limit, what the gentleman pointed out, it's something at 75 units per acre would not be feasible. So we're not going to promote that. So that's a quote by Tate Galloway made tonight. We're not going to propose that kind of density with 30-foot height limit. So I just want to clarify that.
I have a question here from someone who wasn't able to be here, so I hope this doesn't take away from my 2 minutes. It's a question directly to Michael. Is it true that a developer can ask for a variance and have it approved without the community knowing and build over 30 feet?
No, that's not accurate.
So it's a total no. It's a no.
That's correct. That is not an accurate statement.
So can they have it approved with the community knowing?
Yes.
So yes, they can have it approved with the community knowing, over 30 feet. So just keep that in mind. My name is Fran Marsh.
So the current Claremont Mesa height limit overlay zone, it's established in the municipal code, allows for any developer to come in and build to 30 feet or below on their property through a staff level permit. So you go, you get your permit over the counter. Any person who proposes to go above 30 feet requires what's called a site development permit, and that needs to be approved by city council. Before they go to city council, they have to go to the community planning group and notice the property owners in the area within 300 feet. So that is an existing regulation that is there today. Any developer has to maintain that 30 feet. They can suggest going over that, but it has to get city council approval and first go to the Claremont Community Planning Group. That's the process.
Michael, could you clarify though that there are certain findings that have to be made to exceed that 30-foot height limit? Those are very difficult to make.
The findings that need to be made is the consistency with the goals and policies of the community plan and whether or not it affects public health, safety, and welfare. There are the permit findings that are required to make a site development permit approved by city council. So
that's specifically of the findings for the Claremont Mesa height limit. I think those need to be brought forward.
We can, so yeah, I don't have those off the top of my head. I can't sort of rattle them off, but we can certainly evaluate that and discuss that at the land use discussion. So.
My name is Fran Marsh, and I've lived here since 1957. I want anything that's done in our area to be different from what's being done all over the city, because our community is different. I don't want Bay Park to be included in the lackluster Stepford projects that are popping up throughout San Diego. The utilitarian, personality-lacking, underwhelming urban infill designs that leave residents shaking their heads and developers raking in the dough. Where is the creativity in what our city chooses or provides with its developments? What about an architectural contest to bring new ideas, designs, and forms to our community from people who want to honor and highlight our unique location, from architects who live right here, using the desires and ideas of our residents and expressing them in forward-thinking models and renderings, using all green growth and low-carbon concepts as possible. I'd like to see a community gathering open space park right along Marina Boulevard, either near our gateway at Claremont Drive or close to the original Bay Park Village of 1936. In that open space include both a senior playground and a youth playground, where entire families, older and younger, can come together. Senior playgrounds are all over 4 continents and becoming a worldwide trend. There is much, my time is up. Wow, when I did it at home, I went faster than that. So if anybody'd like to give me your 2 minutes, let me know.
I'm Daniel Shuminovsky. I've been here about 50 years in Bay Ho. Someone asked me a question just a minute ago to post to the audience about how to get a notification for these meetings, but you can go on nextdoor.com or Facebook or the Claremont Community Planning Group or whatever. I think if he's still here, I should not. Anyway, look, I want to thank Michael and the city, San Diego, for their work, for what they've done. Because frankly, I've heard a lot of exaggeration. A lot of exaggeration about density, a lot of exaggeration about crime, a lot of exaggeration about all kinds of things. And I'll tell you, we know better. We know better. And skipping to my next question, pedestrian and bicycle safety. The cars on Morena Boulevard are not compatible with riding a bicycle. I've been riding a bicycle in Claremont for 50 years. And the car and the parking, if you've ever been doored by a car when riding a bike, you're looking for a critical accident to occur. And I'm very, very concerned about riding a bike and walking on Morena Boulevard in this area, because I tell you, we have too many cars. There are too many. And you've got to limit, you've got to avoid the parking on Morena Boulevard. Try to, look, it's not very compatible with the small business, but you can't have cars parked along Morena Boulevard and have a bike lane, and somebody's going to get a door right in their feet. They're going to get hurt. They're going to get injured. And what about people walking? The sidewalks are crumbling already. What are you going to do about the sidewalks? You have to improve them. And there's got to be signage. There's got to be maybe a flashing yellow light for warning for pedestrians around the trolley station, a flashing yellow. Oh, well, I had more.
Hello, my name's Eric Blake. Thank you all for your volunteer on this committee in the city as well. A couple key points I wanted to bring up. So I think we have to realize the city's going to grow, like someone said. So I think we do need to support it. Some increased density I think is reasonable. I don't think the group here does not want huge increases. That's key. I think you'd probably get pretty overwhelming support for that. Some reasonable growth. The freeway entrances I think have to be factored in. Already today to get on Highway 5 around commute time is tough. Fortunately, I work from home. I'm very happy about that, but that'll get worse. The other thing I think we got to factor is really look at how are people going to get from Marina Boulevard onto Claremont Drive, onto Rosecrans and those areas. Today, you have to go through the residential area, so I think that's got to really be looked at closely. And then the walking area, the mobility that has been talked about along that strip, I think would add a great value to the area if it's done well. I think this gentleman's point about safety really is a good point, and probably that means slowing down the traffic on Marina Boulevard, which usually I'm not a pro on, but I think that's key. And then I think walking from Marina Boulevard up into the residential area, we have to be looked at a little closer. A lot of those streets don't have sidewalks, so that's going to have to really be looked at.
Evening, everyone. My name is Sean Gaffney. I live on Gardena Avenue. And I have three young children, and I just want to build on a point that was previously made, which is that if we're going to have these trolley stations, we're going to need to ensure that there's safer ways for people to access the trolley stations, whether it's on bike or car or foot. But I'll give you a particular example, and that's Knoxville. There's still not sidewalks the entire distance of Knoxville, and that's already a major